With respect to the classification of the TARYAG mitzvot, there is a well-established tradition to divide the 613 commandments into three categories: the Eidut, the Chukim, and the Mishpatim. The Eidut category, linked to the word Eid, to bear witness, are those type of mitzvot that bear witness to an event that took place in the past. They are basically symbols, examples of which would be Shabbat, testifying to the existence of God the Creator; the Chagim, linked to either Yetziat Mitzrayim or the agricultural festivals; Shemitah, for example, symbolic of God's constant hashgacha in providing for our needs, despite the fact that 1 year out of 7 the land lies fallow. A second category are the Mishpatim laws, societal laws that any society is required to establish in order to function as a society. Many of these laws were then codified into what we have today, the common law system. The third category are the chukim, such as basa v'chalav, kilayim. This is a special category of mitzvot that have internal inconsistencies and, relative to the other two categories, do not have a logical justification. As we shall demonstrate with respect to the arayot laws, there are many mitzvot that cannot fit into any of these three categories. A more modern attempt at the classification of mitzvot was provided by Shimshon Raphael Hirsch in the mid-1800s. He retained but redefined the three categories of Eidut, Chukim, and Mishpatim and added three more. His definitions are much more general, emphasizing the role that mitzvot can have in molding the value system of society. Eidut, for example, are the symbolic observances representing truths which form the basis of Israel's life, and here Israel is not the country Israel, but the nation Israel. Mishpatim are declarations of justice towards human beings, as reflected in the societal laws, and Chukim are the laws of righteousness towards those beings which are subordinate to man. Laws that deal with our responsibility towards the earth, plant life, animal life, towards one's own body, spirit, and word. Here Hirsch parts company with the traditional definition of chukim as mitzvot that are beyond reason. Hirsch includes into the chukim category mitzvot such as shluach haken, respect for the human corpse, laws that proscribe suicide and self-injury; the arayot laws involving vows and dedications. Hirsch also has three other categories: mitzvot, those are commandments that foster a love of God; avodah, which would in all probability incorporate both aspects of a communication between man and God in the form of korbanot on the one hand, or tefillah in a post-Churban period. Hirsch also has a category of Torot. These are fundamental principles relating to the mental and spiritual preparation for life. Into this group Hirsch has placed acceptance of Malchut Shemaim, the sovereignty of God, unity of God, prohibitions against idolatry, a belief in revelation, fear, love, and trust in God, mitzvot such as Kiddush Hashem, compassion, resentment, listening to evil, judging one's neighbor, etc. All laws relating to the mental and spiritual preparation for conducting one's life as a Jew. Rashi, living 750 or so years before Hirsch, was far less concerned with presenting Torah lifestyle as a model for society at large, and therefore retained the definitions as presented in earlier scriptures, the Eidut, Chukim, and Mishpatim, which begs a question: into which category would the arayot laws fit? Certainly not in the category of Eidut. There are no internal inconsistencies with the laws of incest to place them in the Chukim category. They might fit into the Mishpatim laws relating to the preservation of society at large, as Hirsch does. In order to do this, though, we would need to identify the earliest references to taboos regarding incestuous relationships within the Canaanite cultures. To this we could then justify the inclusion of the arayot laws, the violation of which destroy the fabric of a developing society. As we shall shortly see, this is something that might be quite difficult to establish.